Oh, here, let me enable sharing for you so you can share.
All right, cool, cool. Well, I know I'm streaming, and then I've got us all getting screen captured and audio captured here. So, and then you're in the Hollywood Squares view. It's really good. Although I don't know, that was like an old person reference when I was a kid. So I don't
Circle
think
takes the
any.
square.
Yeah,
I
I
know what
don't
you
know.
meant.
What up? How's it going, Lexi? You there? Oh, yeah, she's there.
You know,
I'm
I'm here. I'm here. I'm good.
Good to see ya.
sick.
Just futzing with my display name.
Oh yeah, gang, gang, gang. What up? All right.
Ah,
Hey, yeah, yeah,
Dylan.
yeah.
More Dylans. We need more Dylan. I always said we need more Dylans in this chat.
Villains in stereo.
Yeah. Wicked. Okay, cool. I think it is live on YouTube. I'll just see. Katie, are we live? Yeah, Katie is normally not on camera, although she is pretty much a sensei at the dojo. But that's because her internet. She lives in a remote area with where the internet is much less available than us. But she's always watching. But yeah, slow form, killing it, killing it. What up, Jack? How you doing?
Hey, I'm chilling.
Good to see you, Jack. Long time no see.
Yeah,
Yeah, but check out where Chris is. Look at that. What?
Gotta just turn my camera a little bit so that I can show off from.
that's
Oh
pretty
yeah.
cool.
You know it's fancy when they have a little dial on the reverb. That's when you know. That's when you know. Yeah. So Chris is apparently in Hawaii, and he's at the fancy studio here. Well, yeah, I was gonna just do a quick getting to know everybody, but why don't we start with you, Chris? Because you're in the fancy studio today.
Cool. So, for those of you guys who don't know me, I'm from Hawaii. I've been producing for a decade this May. I've been teaching at the dojo for 5 years and have since branched off and am forming my own community around my Patreon. I do mixing and mastering and consulting for a living, as well as ghost production and a lot of teaching. But I'm trying to get out of that so I can play shows full time.
Word up. Yeah, and Chris is Crypto Chronica, by the way. And he has lots of records out as Crypto Chronica that you should check out, especially if you like festival morning vibes or getting funky with sunset breaks and house vibes. He's
There we go.
got a wide range. Yeah, very cool, very cool. Yeah, Chris has been really integral to the whole growth of the dojo since he came into the dojo as a student many moons ago, and yeah, really crushing it. Well, hey, what's up? Thanks for taking the time, Chris. Wicked, wicked. Okay, cool. So I guess I'm gonna go clockwise. Why don't we start with you, Alexandra? Do you want to come say what up to everybody?
What up, everybody? Forgive me, I'm getting over a cold. So I'm a little hoarse today. I'm Television's Alexandra. I'm in Brooklyn, New York. I been a DJ a really long time. I've been a full time DJ since I don't know, like 19 years, something like that, and love it to death. Love teaching. I used to be a singer, despite my hoarse voice today. I mean, I still am a singer. I used to be a professional singer. Anything else?
And you got some pretty good gigs coming up. Why don't you
I
tell
have
people where
some
they can
really nice
see you?
stuff. Well, you could see me. I have a bunch of stuff, like landmark things this summer, and they're not all announced, so I probably shouldn't be like crazy about it. But I have signed the contract for Shams, so I'm doing both the Chillage at the Village under the umbrella of the Maestro, the Don Il Gates, and I'm also playing the living room. So after years of extreme Shambhala enthusiasm, I've finally got the ring, and yeah, and it's some awesome stuff. Playing Boomtown again for the fourth or fifth time in England, which I mean, people, in the U.S. scene don't know anything about it, so it's like hard to even.
Boomtown's sick.
It is the best. It is so incredible, and
It's
like
really good.
it's so incredible. It's so out of like it's so the scale is incredible, the variety is incredible, and like I'm not gonna try to compare it to Shams because I'm like fucking like love Shams so much, and they compare in some ways and not in others. But in one way that they're very different is the scale. It's like Burning Man, like bigger than Burning Man scale, and just like stagecraft like crazy. And so I go, I over explain it to US crowds because it's just so off the radar and people should know about it. So those are two big things. And I got a couple other like, oh, I'm playing Connection in Idaho, which is cool. And
That'll be fun. Idaho goes way harder than you'd think if you haven't been to Idaho.
I haven't, but I have over the years heard the stories, and so I'm actually super psyched about that. And got some other big, oh, and Electric Forest, playing Electric Forest for the first time in years.
Yeah.
That's dope. Nice.
Yeah, I'm pretty psyched. It was a really people probably know if you're in those circles. It got a lot of rain last year, so some people were bummed, but I had an amazing time, and I'm so psyched to go back. And then yeah, I've got a couple big and a couple small things that I can't say unfortunately, but soon.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, hell yeah. Really excited to rock with you again at Shambhala this summer.
Oh, I'm so jazzed. I'm so jazzed, and I'm so like so much. I you know what? I'm not gonna say that word because I make fun of it every day. I was gonna say gratitude, but I'm like very
Hey,
thankful to be along for the
gratitude's
ride.
good. I try to feel
No, no, no,
gratitude every
gratitude.
day.
Gratitude itself is great, but it's like it's an overused word.
It
I don't know.
is. We need more words. Someone's got to invent uh some new slang. I mean, you could say totes grats if
Totes grats. I'll go with
if
totes
you
grats.
wanted to be a real hipster.
Well,
Um,
because I want to show my gratitude, but I don't want to be too cheesy about
hey
it. So
man,
yes,
being happy is a cheesy thing.
fair enough. I
It
am being
is.
cheesy.
I'll
Yeah,
own
fair
it. I'll
enough.
just be a happy cheese ball. You know, it's all good. Word up. Okay, cool. Well, let's move on now to Jack. I'm just got it going clockwise by what I have in my view. But yo, what up, Moon Splatter? Welcome to the stream. How you doing, dog?
Hey, I'm all right. It's hopefully done making big moves for forever. We're in Los Angeles now, so had to
Nice.
get out of the Bay Area because living in Oakland wasn't going too well. But um, yeah, I'm here. Making music, lots of deep dubstep kind of vibes. You know, um, yeah,
Hell yeah,
that's
man. Well, why don't you tell people a little bit about your project and like where they can catch up with you and everything? Because I don't know if everybody out there has had a taste of Moon Splatter yet. I think they should.
yeah. I mean, it's kind of been a minute since I've released a lot of music, but I've got some stuff. The my EP out with the dojo. I've released a handful of tracks with the Wid fam. Um, the Whittler is a big influence in the kind of vibe that I've been going for lately. So I've been kind of in that network. Uh, I haven't done a whole lot of shows in a while, but I did play at Infrasound a couple years ago
Oh,
and played
sick.
really well. That was a lot of fun. So I don't know. Right now I'm just trying to like make some new music and have a bunch of fresh beats before I like go back out there again because I don't know. I feel like I was feeling like some of my tracks have gotten a little stale. I need some fresh
Yeah,
ones. You know what I mean?
I get that way too. Every now and then I'll learn something about music or something will shift in the way my perception of my own music is, and I'm like, I can't play anything before this point in time now, so I need a new
Yeah,
set.
I
And
get I
then
get the same way too.
yeah,
yeah,
back to the lab. Yeah, it's the best.
yeah,
I mean, the lab is the place to be anyway. So that's my
yeah,
fave.
totally. And
That's my fave.
I like the setup I've got here. We're living in a quieter neighborhood than I was in before, so it's a good place to create stuff. And yeah, I'm hopefully going to be having some more stuff finishing up in the next couple months, and we'll see what happens.
Sick. Yeah, that's a big move, man. Hawaii to LA is like, you can't drive that one. That's not.
Yeah, well, it was Hawaii to Oakland, and then after a couple years in Oakland, we were like, this is not the place to be. Let's get out of here. And so we're in LA now, which is good. Brendan lives just down the street, so
Hey, wicked.
yeah, I got family around and stuff like that. So it's been good.
Vibes, vibes. All right, Wicked. Well, let's say what's up to Dylan Shadowstar. The stereo is complete. Double Dylan's in the
Dylan.
house. What up, dude?
How you doing, man? Man, I'm Shadowstar. I've been in the dojo for a handful of years. I went through the 808 and then got my first EP under this alias released through the dojo, which was, in many ways life changing. Um, I never really wanted to be a teacher. You can like see me saying this. I don't want to be a teacher, but as it were, I had to find a way to contribute back, and just the way that I explained things and the way I could connect with people became pretty obvious to me during pandemic, and honestly, made
Yeah, you're
great,
you're too good
great
at it.
friends.
It's like
Yeah.
it's like those Rick and Morty, when they're doing the heist movies. For real, you son of a bitch, I'm in. Like you gotta. It's
No, fair enough.
we need you. The team needs you,
Shadowstar,
Dylan. The
you
team.
son of a bitch.
We just have mono Dylans. It would only be
Oh,
one
God.
side. We wouldn't have stereo.
You just gotta like split the video perfect, like down the middle, and then synchronize our voices. Be great.
Totally.
But yeah, I don't know, man. Like teaching became just like a way to connect, and I think that's the beauty of music and the community that has become what the dojo is. And like all things like house and techno, but I'll dabble in anything in terms of creating music. I think
I really like when you do the halftime stuff too. Like your halftime
man,
stuff
I'm
is
sitting
juicy.
on so much of it right
Juicy.
now. It's like,
Dude, and
It's
it
the
blows my mind is that you
nocturnes.
haven't sent me a single one. What the hell?
you son of a bitch.
We've talked about this. I feel like we talked about this already.
I was sitting on a lot of music like with the Rust, man. It's happening, but yeah, last year it was kind of like the breakout for performances for me. So I've been just like slowly getting used to that, and the techno circuit is really interesting. I'd like to see some of the other festival circuits if they're like as, let's just say, interesting. But yeah, man, it's interesting once you start finding the pace, and trying to balance music life and doing shows is something that I'm glad to like have this community for, because we all can relate and like give tips and stuff. I know it was a while back, but like, see, I was so upset that I missed you here in Austin. I was like, oh my
It was a really nice one for everybody else. Right after the Texas Eclipse Festival,
Yeah.
we did a show in Austin. Suhan, me, Anna Morgan, Beat Kitty, and Danny G.
Oh,
And
awesome.
rooftop.
It was the rooftop. Yeah.
It was
All my
so
friends
nice.
were there.
Yeah, it was banging, and it was a good mix of music. It was up tempo, down tempo, bass music. I mean, not down tempo, mid tempo, but bass music, house vibes, like everything. It was great.
It was the proper invasion. Yeah, that's me. I'm Shadowstar. I like to hang out here.
And just a note, where there's a lot of techno, New York City. Who has a guest room?
I
It's
mean,
nice too.
if
I could vouch.
if I can bother you, I will do that. It's
Yeah,
been a while
Dylan,
since I've
one
been
of
to
the
New York.
Dylans can vouch.
Yeah.
So
Hey.
come on up.
There's a Dylan shaped spot on the bed from when I was there. I was
Hey.
like warming it up.
I don't know if you guys remember the old Kids in the Hall. It's like 20 Dylans agree.
Yeah, I haven't seen that one. I used to always sing the Dave's I Know song to Dave though.
Well, it's the 40 Helens agree, I think. But
Nice.
we do 20
Nice.
20 Dylans agree.
Word
Good
up.
God.
So hey, now we got Woofax in the house, who's a recent addition to our dojo team and has just
Yes.
been clocking the track feedbacks. It's great to have you, and I'm so excited that we are both in Vancouver.
Hell yeah, dude. I mean, honestly, it's something that I feel like we should have worked together a long time ago. So people that don't know me, my name's Matt. I go by Whipfax. I've been DJing for 26 years, 27
Good
years.
God, I didn't even.
And yeah, and some of you might know me from my old group Terra Vita, which I was the songwriter, mixing, mastering engineer for. And I also went by Tremors. I wrote that song "Sexy Party" with Jay Rabbit. I was Jay Rabbit's teacher. a
Oh
long
wow,
time
I
ago.
didn't know that.
And yeah, that was my voice on "Sexy Party." Actually, Do you
Amazing.
know what time it is? That's my voice. I also went by Hot Pink DeLorean, where I wrote and produced all the banger electro stuff back in 2010 era. And I did Terra Vita. I mean, I played Shambhala over a dozen times. I've played Electric Daisy Carnival, Ultra, you name it. I've probably played somewhere at some point in time in the past 20 years. But I stopped that in 2015, and I went to go work for the loudspeaker company PK Sound, and I was the
Oh,
lead sound
yeah.
designer there. So I worked with them developing their Gravity line of subwoofers. I did the 2.0 version of their preset design for their line array, their mother flagship line array speaker called the Trinity. And after a while there, I was like, I still need to. My intention always was to kind of go back to doing music full time, but COVID obviously snuck in there, and so we were there for a bit, and decided to go and do music full time again a few years ago. And I've just been doing that ever since. I do my Patreon. I have a label that I do. I've got about 30, 40 releases on there. I've released on Gravitas, Dim Mak, Circus, Sleeveless. I don't know. There's a bunch of labels I've been on.
I like the mixes too. You've been pretty regular with the mixes as well.
Yeah. So what I usually do is I run it. Are you talking about the podcast or my mixes for my label?
Well,
Which
the sets.
Oh, the sets. Yeah, I every once a year I try to do a set. I try to release a set that I've played. I do that on SoundCloud. But I also run a podcast that curates 85 to 95 BPM electronic music because I feel like there's no really good name or niche genre. You can't really go on Beatport and search for that BPM. You can go in like dubstep and look for it. You can go into drum and bass and look for it. You can go into bass music and look for it. There's a lot, but you can't really like search for it. There's no like specific area for it. So I decided since I have such a love for it, even from back in the Terra Vita days when we were kind of creating drum step and all that stuff, I decided I'm going to start curating this. So I'm on episode 20. I'm about to do 21 this next month.
Oh yeah.
And I'm stoked to be part of the dojo. I've always been a big fan of Dylan as a human being in general. Even back when we met, this is like through the mists of time we have to swim through here. But gosh, I think did we meet in like Denver or something at like a time? I think I met you in like a little bar in Denver, I think is the one we met. But I was still living in Boston at the time. I don't even know where you were living at the time.
I probably was in the Bay, San Francisco.
Bay,
yeah, back then.
And then I think we met again maybe when I was down in LA for a bit. But either way, a lot of genres and time forward, and we've always stayed connected. And I think we ran into it when you were working with KJ. We ran into each other.
Yes.
I was also working with KJ Saka from Pendulum, and also from I think I did his conspirator. I was actually engineering his conspirator project for a little while. I think too, doing mastering for that. And that's the other thing too. I've done a million. I mean, I've done so much mastering. Like I've been a mastering engineer for 20 years now, and so I've worked with a ton of people. I mastered one of Crystal Method's albums. I've helped.
Whoa, I didn't know that. That's crazy.
Yeah, I helped Excision one of his albums.
Shit, son!
I was Dylan Francis's really old mixing engineer way
What?
back. I've done a lot of different things. But yeah, all that. I also do. I've also been for past probably 15 years a consultant for some pretty high up there mastering and mixing software companies. So I do UX and beta consulting for that stuff. And I do some content development. I've had some of my presets have shown up in some Isotope products in the past, like in their factory presets and things like that. But yeah, I've just been doing this my whole life. I just make electronic music. I just like make electronic music.
As you do. And
Dylan loves it too, and I really love what Dylan's school, and I really love the dojo and the philosophy that the holistic philosophy that Dylan takes. So I'm just really honored to be a part of this. So thanks for having me.
Hell yeah. So before we get into some of the questions that I have for you, I was hoping to go around and get your answers to a few specific questions. But before I do that, I just want to make sure that everybody out there knows that we have an ulterior motive for meeting here today, and that is that Katie and I went into the back end of our website and figured out how to set it up so that we can do 50% off trial memberships. So if you go to the Producer Dojo link that, let's see, where is it? producerdojo.com/feedback-trial. So, and that's a dash with a hyphen. So it's producerdojo.com/feedback-trial. Then you can get unlimited track feedback. And then there is also a Sensei membership where you can book one-on-ones with our awesome senseis. And the memberships come with a ton of my training materials that have been carefully selected from doing years of feedback with people. And all the ones that are the most frequently referenced ones are in a nice, convenient collection that comes with your membership. So, yeah, there's never been a better time. Get in there. Okay, cool. So now that plug hour is over, let's come with the useful stuff and things. So I think like the first one, I want to kind of just leave fairly open, but I love the Ableton One Thing format for rapid fire. So just off the top of your head, if there's one thing that you're excited about or that you think people should try or that you think is cool or that you realized and made a big difference in your music, I was just hoping to do a rapid fire round where we could each share one cool thing. So,
I don't. Yeah.
oh, you got one? You want to start? Yeah. Okay, get in there,
Well,
Alexandra.
I don't know how cool it sounds, but I am so such a vicious proponent of referencing, and yeah, I know it like probably sounds boring and old hat, but if you don't do it, then you need to be doing it. And most of the time, people are like, "Oh yeah, yeah, referencing, I do that," and you don't do it right. You got to do it seamless, and you got to do it for like all different aspects. It's not just for mixing, and then there's so many reasons, and it's actually such a like deceptively deep topic. And like you can mix music without referencing, you can write music without referencing, but why? Like if you don't give yourself a objective metric and referencing, I mean, I can't like just in this like little blurb, I can't say everything about it, but it's got to be more than one song. You can't just reference the one song. And if you don't give yourself the objective metric of a constellation of references, you'll just be chasing your tail when you don't have to. You don't have to go to sleep thinking you mixed it great and wake up and then start beating yourself up. Oh, it sounded so good yesterday. Why do I hate it now? You have a magic shortcut at all times, and it's called referencing.
Hell
So
yeah.
that's always my number one thing.
And I
It
have
might be
seen
sexy, but
Alexandra play on large format sound systems, and her dubs sound just as good as her record collection, and she collects the hell out of records.
it is true. Probably part of why I have a cold is because I like work myself to the bone collecting music. So.
Yeah. It's all these like vinyl dust like diseases from the 70s. It's like The Thing or whatever, just like digging.
Oh yeah. So Dylan's referencing a legendary New York City thrift store, record store that is now closed, but was like a international stop for decades. I don't know how long it was open, but a long ass time. And it's in like off the beaten path. You go in, it's just a junk shop, and then you like climb down a little rickety ladder into a super toxic basement of like not just wall to wall records, but like inch to inch records, and you're like, oh. And people would go down there. I mean, you'd get like people flying in from Japan and from Eastern Europe with like heavy duty respirators, like they knew what they got here for, like came prepared, and that was the thing.
You get brainworms, but it's all like The Funky Worm by the Ohio Players. Just
Funky brainworm. Funky brainworm.
like
I tried
Compton
showing
Whistle
someone that
brainworms.
song recently. I'm like, see, this is like where most G-funk came
It's
from.
it's just a monk. It's just a song wave on a monk.
It's just
The
a move,
Compton
yeah.
Whistle. Okay, cool. All right. So who wants to go next? Who's got a good one thing to share?
Harnessing randomity, setting up systems using randomizers to let the computer hallucinate ideas for you. That's one of my favorite ways for coming out of being stuck and for just taking it could be a whole track and you throw it into a granulator with some randomness and you'll get a completely different idea spewed out to you. So it's very low effort and very high reward. That's my favorite thing about Ableton, I think.
Hell yeah. Wow. Really to the point, too. Nice and clean.
Awesome.
Okay, cool. So who's next on the one thing? Who's got one good thing to share?
I could share. I mean,
Get in there.
Mine's way more technical. Okay, take a rack, put two utilities going out in their own to two different outputs. Put one with the width all the way down, or just make it in mono if you want, and move that down in the mix. And then mono your whole track and just listen to anything that's coming through that has stereo that you want to improve mono compatibility with, and then just slowly move that mono channel up in the rack, and you will mix mono compatibility into many sounds that you might not have. And it's the stupidest simple little trick, but it works quite well. And you can do it with just the stock plugins you have in Ableton.
Awesome. Love it. Yeah, bonus points for stock only. Yeah. Invest in stock. To the moon. All right, word. Okay, cool. So Dylan, Jack, either you guys got a good one thing to share? I mean, you can wait till next round too. There's other questions, but if you have one,
Sure,
now's the
yeah.
time.
I got one. I mean, one thing that's like, I don't know, I've been trying to focus on lately is just like composing tracks with the sub bass first. And like usually I'll do like sound design in the beginning, but then I make sure to do the composition and like, really nail this bass line with the sub. Because what I noticed kept happening is I feel like I'm almost done with the track, and then I start mixing it, and the first thing I mix is the sub bass, and I'm like using a reference and then listening to the sub, and when I hear it by itself, I'm like, man, this bass line sucks. Like this is not hitting the rhythm I want. And it was because I was composing, with too much focus on the mid range and, layering the sub after. And so like kind of reversing that and being like my music's all about the sub bass. So it's like getting that right first and then bringing in those other sounds has made a huge difference as far as like, getting the kind of rhythm that I'm shooting for. You know what I mean?
Hell yeah. Yeah.
So I would say like the main thing for me when it comes to Ableton is if you're balling on a budget, instead of having a third party like sample organizer, Ableton 12 at this point, you can organize just about anything. And this can literally be a library. Like instead of Ableton just being like this tool that you sequence music in, it like literally can be your creative source, a palette that is infinite essentially, which then leads to the ultimate tool that we have learned from you, Dylan, 128s. You're not really gonna find the accessibility anywhere else, including Bitwig. I mean, Bitwig's good, but there's something
Bitwig
about
party.
yeah, something about having 128s has been really useful for people that are trying to find their sound. Trying to figure that out through other sounds or stock sounds, and like simplifying it until you get that core signature. It makes it really easy to transfer between other DAWs or other people's computers. So I just like the idea that it's just a library, literally.
Hell yeah. Yeah, that's definitely a good one. And I combine the sound similarity search with 128s often, where I'll get like a sound that I like, and then I'll do the Ableton sound similarity search and get a bunch of related sounds, and then drag them into the sampler really fast, select all, distribute ranges equally, and then I'll like accompany the original sound with similar sounds in a 128 to make, and your brain, because they're similar, your brain doesn't really hear them as different sounds. They just sound like their articulations off of the original sound. And but yeah, those two techniques are like they're friends. They're friends big time.
Tagging and filtering has been amazing so far. Just being able to get everything organized, knowing how to like not break flow state while searching. That has been like the biggest bane of many people's existence with Ableton,
Yeah.
like just DAWs in general. But being able to be like, I know what I'm looking for. Click, 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 without using third-party software, because there's some good third-party, but it's all in Ableton now.
Yeah, big time. All right, cool. Well, I got a good one thing for you. And that is that when you are loading anything, any device, anywhere, doesn't matter how you organize it at all. Just do Command F for find, type the first couple letters of whatever that thing is, and then use the down arrow and you'll select it in the browser in Ableton. I never load a plugin or a sample or an Ableton device or a rack I've made or anything any other way. Just Command F, down arrow, enter. And it is so much faster than any other way. And that means that you don't actually have to be organized beyond coming up with meaningful and relevant names as you're saving things. And a lot of the time my names will like have the I'll prepend ill dot at the beginning, so I know anything that starts with ill dot is one of my instruments. And then usually I'll put the category next, so it might be ill dot bass, and then I'll put 808, distorted noise, and then that'll be that one. Or it'll be like ill rack, etc., like ill one knob rack, and then the title of it. But as long as you have like a good naming format, then anytime I want to have all the presets that I've made, I just type ill dot, they're all there. Anytime I want to have all my basses, I type ill dot bass, they're all there, right? But if you just get used to loading things just with the search function and like Command F, first couple letters, down, enter, it is so much faster. So much faster. Okay, cool. So that was good. That was a good quick round of one things. That's a bunch of useful stuff. That was good. Okay, cool. So for round two, you have all at some point in your life gone from being a person who wanted to make music to being a person who was actively making music to being a person who was primarily making music. And those jumps each have their own quirks, but I think most people are going to fall into the first category, where if they know that they're passionate about it, they've maybe tried some stuff here and there enough to know that it's a good time, but are perhaps like wondering like if by the time I get good at this, I'll be older than I am now, and having other such thoughts. And I was wondering if you had anything to say to a person who is at that phase in their life, or if you have anything that you remember helping you to get through that phase of your life.
Yeah, I could say something about that. I think that in The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron, she talks a lot about the difference between artists and shadow artists. And shadow artists always believe themselves to be artists, but due to upbringing or maybe a mean comment from a parent or something, they never felt brave enough to like take the plunge into trying to make their own art. And if you do struggle with that, the only way to give the big middle finger to all those people who said negative things about you is to take this plunge and to just go forward with it and create radically, almost as a form of resistance. And I think that if you want to make music, that wanting will never go away. Now, on your deathbed, people regret the things they didn't do a lot more than the things they did. And so you don't want to die with regrets as much as you can. Just go make music. If your dad doesn't like it, who cares? My dad listens to my music and he's like, is it supposed to sound like that? It sounds kind of filthy. And I'm like, hell yeah, that's a compliment. That's exactly what I wanted from you. But he doesn't get it. No problem. I don't make it for him. So make it for yourself when you're first starting, because it feels great. And after a while, like, honestly feels like it's like an addiction. When I go a day without making music, I'm in a worse mood. I'm meaner to people. I'm less patient. I have more road rage. And so it's not only like a therapeutic addiction, it also feels great, and then it will get you closer to your goals. The only way you can fail is if you don't do it. Everybody has to take the steps there. And the only way you fail on this journey, even if it takes you 10 years or 1 year, is to stop taking steps. So take your first step literally after the end of this call and just go and make a bunch of bullshit noises, record a bunch of farts. It's funny. Like, just have fun. That'd be my advice.
Hell yeah. I feel like I was
nice.
in church for a minute there. I was like,
One
this
day
is
you'll
great.
One day you'll make like the best fart recording ever.
Hey, I mean, they're always handy. And you,
I sneak farts in all my tracks.
yeah, and stubble.
I'm not even kidding.
Stubble sounds are really good. Like if you just rub
Yeah.
the mic, you can get like turn any mic into a contact mic and
Brushes.
get these like really nice. Like there's lots of my stubble. Like I'm not a very beardy
I've
person,
done
but
remixes where I take the entire like original song and I'll just like drag it into like some sampler or like really stretch it short and then just have it go like and like play for a second. Like just weird like no one's gonna know this.
yeah.
A really fun fact is we actually took one of my old tracks was a really big hit from an old Terra Vita track. The vocalist in it screamed ball sack into the microphone, so I took that and reversed it. I always wanted to try this because back when we were doing
Were you backmasking?
this was
Did
yeah, 'cause you know,
people
like,
get
people used to do
subliminal
rewinds
ball
at
sack
drops all
related
the time.
messages?
People used to do rewinds at drops all the time, so they'd spin it backwards. So I slowed down that word
crafty.
and put it in reverse right before the drop. So if you spin it backwards, it goes ball sack.
That's amazing. I
But
love
see,
it.
you'll never be able to do that unless you try.
You'll
That's the
never.
point.
You'll never be able to do that unless you try. That's awesome. I bet that's happened at least once.
Oh yeah.
It's probably happened lots of times, in fact.
I have some advice for this too, which is funny because I was just thinking about this the other day because I used to say this to a lot of people. When I was doing my like really big groups, I used to have people come up to me all the time and be like, I want to do what you do. And I'm like, do you really want to do what I do? Because I think you want to do what I do, but in actuality, like you want to get on stage and be like adulated by a bunch of people and have like all these like people love you and like you want to, be a superstar. But in actuality, you do not want to sit and listen to like a snare drum for 3 straight hours, 5 straight. So, and I think that the point is to question your motives as far as why you want to create things. If you have an urge to create something, I think it's amazing, and I think you should do it for that and like a skill. Like, there are people that go and take martial arts classes because they want to learn self-defense and they want to improve themselves in a lot of different ways. They don't want to compete in, karate tournaments, right? They want to just have a skill and learn a skill, and I think. You get so much out of doing that. And if you find that you really love a genre of music and you want to contribute to the landscape of that genre, I think it's a beautiful thing to do that. A friend of mine the other day was actually posted something online, which is, would you pick one of these two options? One, would you rather be like super famous artist, everybody knows you and you're rich and famous off of it, but in actuality you're a hack and like you have ghost producers and like you're not actually really good? Or would you rather be two, a ridiculously skilled, talented artist who has like the skill of like, some of the most famous artists in any genre possible, but no one knows who you are? And pick which one. And I think that the whole point is that if you're questioning your motives of why you want to get into it, just ask yourself, why do I really want to get into this? What do I want to do this because I want to be like a famous DJ type thing, or do I want to do it because like I have the passion for it? Because the passion is what's going to keep you going. It's going to keep you, when you're just making music and you're not like, playing the big festival, or you're not doing whatever. That passion of making it is what's really going to keep you going. And I think that's something that should be instilled in everybody. I think people should really learn and appreciate that side of it. So the reason I think I say that is like if you're in that part of like wanting to get into making it, if you're just passionate about doing it, you're not going to care how other people think about it. You're just going to do it, right? Because you want to do it and you love to do it. So just say fuck it and do it. That's what I mean? Like I have things that I've released that I'm like, you know what? This probably isn't the best thing. I'm just going to do it. I don't care. I'm going to do it and I'm going to move on my journey and make the next one. And if I had never released those other songs, if I had never done that in the past, I wouldn't be as happy in a place where I am now, where I feel with my music, because I wouldn't have learned from that space.
That's awesome. I love that dichotomy question too. That's great. Like, what are you gonna pick? That's a good one.
Conti.
That's a good one.
Yeah, that was in Conti. You posted that the other day. I was like, oh man, that's an awesome.
Yeah, like there's no question in my mind, But yeah, that's good because there's definitely some people I think that would happily choose Action One.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean, I've met them before. It's weird. I met a kid at one point who was like, he already like, I already got my helmet. And I was like, you don't know how to produce music. He's like, yeah, but like when I'm on stage, I'm gonna have this helmet. And I like literally, I was having a conversation. I was like, I think you should worry about like writing a song first before you find your dead mouse persona, guy. Like, what are you doing? But that was his thing. And of course, he was around for probably about 6 months. But
But he had the
anyway,
helmet. Like
he had the
that's
helmet though.
an
I think
important
he spent
part.
some money getting. Yeah, he had like a whole. I mean,
That's
good for
not
him on the
nothing.
branding.
That's not nothing. He
Good,
had the helmet.
good for him on the branding. But it's like opening up a McDonald's wrapper and there's no burger in it or something. I don't know. I don't. That's a weird. I guess a weird way to say it. But anyway, that's my take on it.
Awesome. Love it. Cool. All right. So does anyone else have anything that they would say to someone who is you know, getting into music and in that problem phase that we all have to go through where you're like, is this even worth doing? I don't know.
I don't know if that
Yeah.
phase like ever goes away.
I agree. I agree.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'd say this: at the beginning stages, find a mentor, a coach, or a teacher. If you can find all three of those in one person, great. They will show you the way, just like any trade. One of my good friends, Francis Prev, said, or he had posed a question, and at the end of the day, it's the one thing that everyone will agree with if you're a creative. It's not releasing music, it's not playing shows, it's not fame, because that comes with its whole other bag of problems and tricks, but it's creating. Whatever you're doing, creating. That is what you want to be doing. And you will need a coach, a mentor, and a teacher because it is music business if you go as this as a career path. But I think you have to like almost question like what makes a true brand, a personality, and an artist that stays relevant, right? For life, until the ball of fire happens. But with that being said, the question is, can all EDM artists be engineers? And the answer is no. It is absolutely true. Not all EDM artists can be engineers, but all true engineers can be EDM artists. And I feel like this belief has become like instilled in me. It was posed to me by Deadmau5, and I was like, okay, now I see what you're saying. Like the skills to survive, to thrive, and retire without beating yourself up through touring or other mundane actions is mixing and mastering. And even with AI, there's something about culture, and Brian Eno would even go to say like we seek things that were rejected: tape, analog, CD, all of these things. So at the end of the day, it's really about developing engineering skills if you want to be a creating person to create things, and then all the other possibilities open up. And I think you just have to understand consistency. Just show up to do what it is you love and create. Things will happen.
Hell yeah. That was awesome. Really good. Okay, cool. Who's next?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of what I want to say is in response to what some of the other sensei said. And, I mean, I have some other original thoughts too, but like when we're talking about doing it for the love versus all the extra versus the sex and drugs instead of the rock and roll, or the persona thing, or all these, like I think it's I don't want to contradict anybody, but I think it's too much to ask a person not to be a human. Like we have desires, we have ambitions, and then it's like stagecraft. Stagecraft is fun. Like my best friend and production partner DJ Shaky, she's the Mac when it comes to stagecraft. And I'm always like being the serious producer. She's like, no, we're gonna do this silly bit on stage, and she's always right. So I think it's less about like purifying yourself and sanctifying yourself as a serious producer, and more just keeping your priorities straight, which is part of what was being said too. But it's just being honest with yourself about why you're in the game, and recognizing that like you're you sh- I think the greatest joy to find in this is like the journey of your life and the alchemy of self-discovery, And so just like dwelling on the philosophy. I know Dylan's big on the philosophy of everything, including music, but like dwelling on the, like sitting with yourself and like thinking about what's most important and like really like laying it down for what's most important. Because I, I I I think it's too much to ask like a psyche to be like, don't want to make money, don't want to like have appreciation for your art. And I don't even think those things are fundamentally evil. It's just when they gobble up the love, and when they like when your desire for approval and for people clapping for you and for being in with the cool kids and for validation, when that eclipses the love of the game, like that's the problem. But like I just I think we're asking for failure by suggesting we can rise above our human nature. You know what I mean? And
Well,
I think that's do it, but I think that's a winnable. Yeah, go ahead.
I think it kind of comes down to whether it's on or off brand. Like if your brand is all about being this like super purified artist, and then you're like suddenly show up with like neon sunglasses asking people to twerk, I think people will be like, what happened? But if your brand is like all about like having fun and wearing neon sunglasses, and then you get all fucked up and be like, is this the right thing? Maybe I need to be super serious and meditate every morning and not make songs about body parts anymore, right? Like it just depends on your vision. Depends on your vision, right? So it's like whatever your vision
I
is,
think you're
it's
right
that's the
though.
thing to be authentic to.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're right, Alexandra. Like in the sense that you're not no, you shouldn't try to suppress your feelings of like feeling appreciated and taking compliments as well as taking criticism. But I think it's also important to when you're in a space where no one's giving you compliments, no one knows who you are yet, no one's doing anything, and you ask yourself, why am I doing this? Finding a spot where it's like, oh, this is something for myself that I'm doing, and that's really what I mean when I'm talk about like when I'm saying like check your motives as far as like when you're doing this and when you're starting out and you're in that spot of like I want to make music, make it with a goal in mind to impress yourself. Give yourself goosebumps when you crank your own tune in your car.
I will
That
hard
Totally.
that's what I'm
yeah.
that's what I'm trying to get at more than anything else. You don't have to be like, oh, I'm trying to like I mean
Don't give me the money. No, I
yeah,
don't want
don't
the
no, I
money.
really don't. Yeah, no. There's definitely you should respect that side of it, of course. It's just that if you are solely based on pushing yourself in that avenue, uh, then I think the longevity, the space in which you need to have self motivation to continue might might be uh, stifled easier in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
If you're like I'm in this music thing for the money, it's not gonna work.
Yeah.
It's not
Yeah,
gonna work.
yeah.
As you know,
Yeah.
uh,
Well, I will.
but
I will. Yeah. Go ahead.
no, go ahead.
Yeah, I will hard co-sign that part. Like, I think one of the hardest lessons for me to learn in this like long journey of mine, yeah, and that I'm still very much learning, and even very presently learning, is the what you said, doing it for yourself. And that could be interpreted by some people in some different ways, maybe in negative ways. But what I think you mean and what I mean is, yeah, like get like impress yourself. Do it for your own standard, not like if you're doing it to what you think someone else is going to like, be that a peer or someone above you, like in the career that you admire, in the business that you admire or whatever, or to appease a certain scene or the other scene. If that's the the standard you've made for yourself, you're never going to meet it. You're going to run yourself in circles, and you're going to run yourself to death. And if your metric, and I'm not I'm just learning this, after years and years and years. But if your metric is, oh, oh I think it's awesome, and I would be delighted if you liked it, but it doesn't matter because I think it's awesome. Like, if that's your standard, then you're gonna win. You're gonna win in the short term, and you're gonna win in the long term, and you're gonna grow. And it's gonna your love of the game is gonna be infectious. It's just gonna work in so many ways. What's coming to mind right now is Munchie, the OG
Yeah.
Momentone
Yeah, he's
not
so
the
great.
producer. And I was recently reflecting back on some of like the first Munchie tunes, and because he didn't come up with Moombahton, but I mean, to me, for the people who are there, like he's the person that made it blow up. And I was looking back on some of those tunes that I played a ton, and I was like, okay, I guess these like sound. I guess you with 15 more years of reflection, like I guess you could like poke holes at the mixing or something, but the rawness or the ambition, like maybe it was perfect for the time, but in reflection, it's a little too crazy now. I don't know, whatever. But the
I
person
miss
went for
Moombahton.
it.
I wish it was
Oh yeah,
still
for
around.
sure,
It
for
was
sure.
really good for a
And
bit there.
it was
Just got to go to the right place in the world, man.
oh yeah, there's always something going on, but there was a scene, there was a golden age, and I was glad to intersect with it, and it meant a lot to me, and it still does. But like that kind of infectiousness, like my point is Mucci was doing it for his standard, you know what I mean, like that it was wholly original sound, and it was novel and infectious because it wasn't trying to appease somebody or play nice in a certain genre. It was like the most punk
He was
shit that
punk
you
rock. I was just about to say that, dude. It's punk
exactly,
rock, right?
you know,
Yeah.
and that's what you should be doing. And like, I look back at some of the things that I released that I felt anxious about at the like that like at the other side of that is, oh, is it ready? Can I put this out, or am I gonna like rework it for 10,000 years? And the ones that I put out earlier in my career that are like up on my Spotify and people hear them all the time that I might think are cringy, I still get compliments on all the time. And I mean, Dylan talks about this too. Like it's not yours to judge. It's not yours to judge whether a song is good or not. Like truly, it's not
Dude, I did not think Morty was gonna be like nearly as popular as it was. I made that like an afternoon, and I was kind of like not taking it seriously at all. I'm like, yeah, that one's and
yeah,
I think it's gonna be the number two pretty soon
oh
overall
yeah,
Il Gates track. So,
yeah,
but yeah,
yeah.
it's pretty
So like
funny.
so the summary of that is you got like if you don't release it, you definitely lose. If you do release it, even if you're afraid of being embarrassed, whatever, someone's gonna like it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
If you release it, don't release it, you lose. If you do release it, you win. And there's other benefits of like releasing when you feel comfortable as well. But that's it. If you don't release it, stasis. If you do release it, progress. Period.
straight up, straight up. Okay, cool. Hey, Jack, do you have anything that you want to say to people who are in that like, should I give this a go? Really? Should I really try and see if I can do it? What would you say to that
Yeah,
person?
yeah, totally. I mean, if you like making music, you like making music. I mean, I think that's something most people like have a passion for pretty early on. Like you kind of recognize like that's something you want to do. And I mean, as already mentioned, like, you either love it or you don't. And I think like at least at least for me and what I've seen kind of with a lot of people that I teach and what I see when I'm like on Reddit and stuff and see things that people are posting, asking questions, like one of the biggest sort of mistakes that kind of everyone makes early on is, I guess you could say, just like overworking things and trying to like push too hard on like single tracks when really the big secret is developing a workflow so you make stuff quickly. When I was doing one-on-one sessions with Dylan early on, like I was running into that, like sending him the same project for like months at a time. And then he was finally got me to be like, no, use these recipes,
Yeah,
crank
that
out
was
20
you
beats
were
in a
the one of the
month.
first people who tested the recipes when I made the
Yeah. And
recipes.
that really transformed how I work. And now it's like I do everything almost quickly. Like if I'm not done, at least like have the basic idea down in like 2 hours, like I feel like I've gone off track.
Hmm.
Like and this is something I think about a lot. Like a lot of people kind of know that Malcolm Gladwell idea of like 10,000 hours to master something, but like if you spend 10,000 hours on one beat, you still only made one
That's a
beat.
good
You
point.
know,
That's a
like you're
good
much better
point.
off making 10,000 1 hour beats. Like if you make 10,000 1 hour beats, you're
Joe,
gonna
you're
be
a
incredible.
monster.
You know, and like that's a
You'd
big
be like
mistake a
just like
lot of
Jay
people
Dilla at
make,
that point.
and that's something where that's where a lot of people get stuck because you're like putting like 100 hours into your first track, thinking it like if you just brute force it one day it's going to be amazing, but it doesn't really work that way. So like the faster you can develop this workflow and understand that like you're going to make some shitty beats, it's like you have to, and the faster you can like get through these like 10,000 beats, like the quicker you're going to, get to the ones you really want to make.
Hell yeah, dude! If anyone has made 10,000 beats in the world, I would be so impressed. That's so many beats.
Yeah,
But
I mean
I
that should be
really
the
like the
goal, right?
10,000 hours on one song and not learning anything. That's such a great thing to point out. That's a gem. That's a gem right there. Yeah, really, really good. Okay, cool. So one thing that I really love to do is make like funny little games to make music making more fun and more inviting. And lately, a game that I've been playing is making dance music with no drums at all. And like, can I make a piece of dance music that does not have drums? So that's a fun game that I've been playing lately. Do any of you have fun games that you are playing that you'd like to share?
That's a good question. I don't know.
I like to do this. I like to like if I know like the subject of the song that I'm making, I like to go into like my sample bank or into like Splice or something like that, and I like to just type the name of whatever that sample, whatever the idea is, and see if any names come up, just arbitrary, like either it's Splice or wherever. And I go, okay, I'm gonna find two things, and no matter what they are, they're gonna go in the song. I don't know how I'm going to put them in the song. I don't know if it's going to be like a little clip of it or if it's going to if I'm going to completely just like take a wavetable of it or something, but I'm going to fit it into the song somehow. Just as like an exercise outside of like, oh, this sounds good. Just be like, I don't care what this sounds like. I don't even know what key this is in. I'm just going to take it and I'm going to find a place for it and work it in somehow. And it makes it a lot of fun because it also makes it a good like way when you play it back to go, I did get that to fit really well, even though like like that was totally the sound of like a banjo and was not really fitting with the song at first, that kind of thing. But it could be it could be any sound or any sample. So I like doing that. That's like the fun little exercise I like to do to make the game
That
make it more fun.
That's a good game. I like it. Okay, anyone else got any fun games?
I mean, it kind of goes with what Crypto Chronicle was saying earlier. Like, give yourself permission to make like the worst music or sound, and you end up making something you never would have thought, and you end up liking it, and that's how you find your signature. So sometimes just like go in and literally make bad things to see what happens. Like the artist No Mana does that all the time with the sampler, and it just makes the best heavy electro drops. Like, well, what do you know? Have fun, man. Make things.
Yeah, that's definitely a good one. Or like if you try to make music that is a parody of itself, that can be a good hack too. When you're like, oh, I'll make a piece of music in this genre that's like making fun of itself, and
That hell yeah, that's a great one.
yeah, that one. Especially if you're like, what are people gonna think? You'd be like, well, you can't laugh by accident. If I made you laugh.
Yeah,
I
but it's
do a
not
lot.
even a. Oh, sorry.
No,
It's
go
not
ahead.
even a joke though. Like when you try to do that, it ends up being great. Like almost to me, in my experience, while observing other people do it and me do it, when you try to parody something or make a joke out of something, it doesn't come out like a joke. It just comes out like a banger.
I 100% agree. Case in point
100%.
would be a band like Spinal Tap or like Death Clock,
Or
right?
or Steel Panther.
Mermaider.
Exactly.
Steel
Like
Panther are
that's
pretty
a
good in
banger
that.
tune though.
They make some really good music. Ridiculous. Yeah. But yeah.
I mean, that was my whole project, Hot Pink DeLorean. Like we named it that because we thought it was ridiculous, and we ended up like that ended up being like a whole. We were like parodying the whole like hipster thing at the time, like the hipster house music movement at the time, and
That
then just
literally
Whoa.
is BSOD. That is like
yeah,
literally BSOD.
yeah. Well, we were that's what we were doing. Like
Were
that's
you
kind of
being
like what we were doing
ironically
at the same time.
ironic?
Oh yeah. Well, it ended
Whoa.
up like it ended up. Well, it just ended up blowing up, and we were like, oh man, we gotta take this seriously now.
I
Awesome.
think there's a lot of
We used
truth to
to
that.
we used to dress up in the most ridiculous shit when we played too. It was hysterical.
I think there's a ton of truth to that. The most like viral I've ever been was when I took a cat's meow. This cat was like just nagging me for a treat. And I recorded this cat's meow and turned it as a wavetable into all kinds of different bass sounds. I used it for the percussion and it got like a shit ton of views. And it was the silliest, stupidest thing that took me an afternoon to do. And yet, it was a banger, if according to the Instagram comments. And so I do think that like there is something to be said about not taking yourself too seriously and just make it funny. Like you could do this as a birthday present for somebody and they'll
Yeah,
still
that's
probably
my favorite
appreciate it.
assignment, the birthday present.
The birthday present's a good one
Because it's
That's
got
really,
a
is a really good one.
built-in deadline.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I think actually you're onto something too as far as a good exercise too. Like if you can't come up with writing something and you want to do it, just like do a meme. Like just write a
Oh,
song and
totally.
like if you don't have an idea, like that's something that like we were doing way back in the day. Like J Rabbit and I used to do that all the time.
Also,
And
anything cats. Like if you do anything with
Anything
cat, the internet was built
yes.
for cats. They've enslaved humanity so that we would
Our
build the internet and
overlords.
put them on it. Exactly. Anything you do with cats is going to go viral.
This is all kind of reminding me of the Fungineers.
Oh yeah.
That's kind of like it's like I remember the first time seeing them at a festival, and it's like this is a damn puppet show, but
They're
like
sick,
they're
though.
dropping
They're so
bangers.
Oh,
It's
sick.
awesome.
sick.
Yeah, they're real force. The old dojo warehouse was like down the street from the Fungineers warehouse, and like we would go over there. They have like crazy parties. Like their YouTube channel and stuff is like for kids, but their parties were very much not for kids.
The
It
puppets
was-
are just doing lines off the fucking mirrors.
yeah, it was full on. They had like a ice sculpture yogurt. Like it was like I'm pretty sure it was like a lewd ice sculpture of some kind, and they're like pouring people like shots off this. Then yeah. And yeah, Riley Reid was the one pouring people the shots too. I was like,
Oh,
what is
wow.
happening right now? It was pretty great. Yeah, but yeah, good times. But yeah, definitely whatever you got to do to make it fun, because the fun keeps you coming back. So yeah,
And always do cats because toxoplasmosis has hypnotized all of us into doing cat memes.
Absolutely has. Yeah.
yeah,
Do you guys know Vengeant on?
yes.
Hell yeah, Vengeance,
Yeah.
awesome, dude.
Yeah. So he's
Awesome.
like very frequently, and it's all the frequently drum and bass, but it's like he'll like take some like a chainsaw or scoot a stool on the ground or something, and then like make drum and bass out of it, like parodying the like that how those sounds normally sound in the genre.
He
but
did a
just,
seagull
like,
one. Did you see the seagull one? That one was
yeah,
really
yeah,
good.
yeah. So it's like like in the same zone of like it's a parody, but it's actually just awesome.
Yeah,
But that's just having. But honestly, this is the other thing too. I think that we haven't really talked about, any of us really, is talking about building a community around like the music stuff that you're making. So if you have like a group of friends and you're learning to make music, and you have people around you that are also making music, and it's this activity, that could be a really inspiring and motivating thing. And that's one of the things that Dojo really brings too, which is really awesome about it. But because you meet other people that are also in like the same spot as you, that just want to share music and write music and do stuff like this, and having those fun meme things as like inside jokes to your friends is like super fun to trade around, and then everyone's got like dub plates to play at the shows, and that kind of, it's just like a fun thing. And I think, yeah, I think building, the one thing we didn't touch upon though, as far as keeping yourself motivated and like, if you're stuck in that area, is find a community. Finding
yeah.
a community is like
Totally.
super helpful to keep you motivated.
I will
Because
say
even if-
too. Oh, so
sorry, go ahead.
I was
No,
gonna
no, go ahead.
say, like if you're on the fence about joining the dojo, um, I just want to endorse it as a community because like the internet's a pretty vicious, cutthroat place, especially certain places on the internet. And the dojo is probably the most supportive electronic community I've ever stumbled across. The people in it are amazing. It's just fantastic and a really, really good place to mature as an artist if you're on the fence. So I would definitely recommend that.
Hell yeah. And yeah, once again, you can get in on the action at a 50% discount. Unlimited track feedback. Your first month is 50% off. That's at producerdojo.com/feedback dash trial. TRIAL. And yeah, you can get in there, get some awesome feedback from all of our senseis. We also have a membership special on the sensei memberships that I don't have the URL memorized, but Katie will have it. But yeah, get in there. I think the feedback membership is really, how do you lose with unlimited feedback for $20 and a ton of classes? There's no way. And I mean, if you really think it sucks, they'll give you your $20 back. Like, come on. But yeah, it's a great community. We'd love to have you in it. And yeah, big ups. So I think that's, it's been about an hour, so we should probably wrap it soon. But I'm sure that everyone here wants to know where they can chase you all down and listen to your music and everything. So you got your pluggables ready? Chris, where can we find you and what should we listen to?
Yeah, so you can check me out on SoundCloud or on Spotify. My Patreon, I definitely recommend coming through there. There are different types of tutorials than a lot of what you can get in the dojo. Definitely go through the dojo first. Dylan is going to provide the kind of macro level view, and I've in some ways distilled some of what he's taught me and or come up with my own original content. So it's a little bit different, but I do a lot of in-person workings with people through the Patreon. That's Cryptochronica at Patreon. And just finished in the studio literally today my very first album. So that'll be dropping in September. I have a bunch of new EPs coming out. I happen to make a weird house EP that just developed kind of naturally. So yeah, check me out on Spotify. And
Get that Grand
SoundCloud.
Alliance release too, don't you?
Yeah, that was I just recently
Wildebeest thing.
released through the Grand Alliance label a deconstructed dubstep / bass music album, or I'm sorry, EP, probably about 4 or 5 months ago. You could check that out as well.
Don't you have that collab with Wildebeest coming up too, don't you?
Dude, you're giving away all the secrets here.
Sorry.
No, that's
My
you're
bad.
good. You're good. I'm just gonna have to.
I was
bring
trying to
up
plug
this
you. I'm
NDA
sorry. I didn't know that was
violation
a
to my
secret.
lawyer
I'm
here.
sorry.
No. There's no secrets at all. I got lots of stuff coming out, but get in touch. Check me out. I'd love to hang out with you guys. Peace.
Big ups. All right, cool. Matt, you're up next. Wolfax.
Just the name that's right here, WOOFAX. It's a name you can't miss it, and it's everywhere. If you look up Patreon, you type that. If you look up SoundCloud, you type that. SoundCloud.com/Wolfax. Facebook.com/Wolfax. Instagram at Wolfax. Very, very simple. Very, very manageable. Try to keep it that way. And if you sign up to the dojo, you'll see me. I do a lot of feedback, and we can make some jokes and laughs in the chat together. And if you want to check me out, I also have that good old Patreon. I give away exclusive music on my Patreon every month, and you can download a DJ and a bunch of other goodies and things and stuff I do there, sample packs and stuff like that. And check out my label with Fax Music, and all of my releases. You can just find them everywhere. Search Spotify. You can look at them. They're all over the place. I'll be around. Just WOOFAX. That's all you need to learn. That's all you need to know.
Woo! Facts.
Thank you very much. I approve this message.
So is it like a woofer axe, or is it someone who's like really excited about getting a fax? Or
So yes, the original term was yes, a woof axe, like a subwoofer.
Okay.
Yes. Then someone was like woofax, like so people go woofax. I was like, oh, that's really good too. And then someone else said they were like, yeah, but you can like also like open up a can of woofax, and I'm like, that's amazing.
Yeah, that's also good.
And I was like, all right, well, pronounce it however you'd like to pronounce it, because both ways are the way to say it.
Okay. What about woofix?
Absolutely, I encourage that one as well.
Like if you're like in a hurry and you're English.
Exactly. I encourage that very much as well.
Okay.
I hope Harry Potter says woofix
Wicked.
at some point when he's late to platform 9 3/4 or whatever, whichever one. Which one is it? I can't remember which one it is.
9 3/4.
Is it 9 3/4? I was right.
Yeah.
Okay. Sweet.
Wicked. All right, Alexandra, how do people go listen to your awesome music and catch you at shows? Plug your pluggables.
I am Alexandra. Like time to get Alexandra. ILLEXX. There's two of them. ANDRA. I prioritize Instagram and SoundCloud. Yeah, mixes. I like my mixes a lot as I think of myself as a DJ first. And so I've got a song, I got a remix of Pixis coming out in a few weeks. I've got a Dragon's Horde of bootlegs. I'm gonna start
Dude, the bootlegs are
blasting it
no
this year.
joke. Like we played
Yeah, I
some, we
just did
played
it.
at a gig this summer where every artist on the bill had "ill" in their name, and
Yes.
Alexandra really delivered.
awesome.
I was like, oh, it's pretty ill. You gotta really try and dig deep to
Yep,
follow
yep.
that up.
Thank you. Yeah, I just did a Dochi like a bootleg remix with Drip and Wet from Baltimore, and like I think we're gonna put that out in the next few days even, and then yeah, lots more to come throughout the year. And I do it. I'm in it for the culture. I mean, I like fame and fortune and everything, but I'm in it for the culture. So if you are gonna intersect with me at a festival, please come say hi. Don't be scared. I want to hang out. I want to hear what you're up to. Like I want to get to know you. So yeah, I will be at Shams. I mean, you can find out all these things with on my Instagram, but I'll be at Shams, and I'll be at, like I said, a connection in Idaho shortly before that, and I should be at LIB, and I should be at I'm definitely at Boomtown if you're in Europe or plan to go, and yeah, and Burning Man. I am the creative director at Burning Man Information Radio, BMIR, which is pretty easy to find if you're out there. So I'd love to have you on the radio. Seriously, I see we year after year we all say this to people, and they're like either like, oh no, you don't mean it, or ooh, I'm getting special treatment. But actually, everyone's allowed to just come in on the air, and I'd love to chat with you on the air, or whatever.
And
Shoot the
there's a
shit.
lot of Burning Man too. That's one thing that people kind of fail to realize sometimes. They're like, how do they do DJs? It's like, dude, it's 24 hours a day for a week. That's a lot of time slots. Like, you know?
Yeah, but it's we over the years we used to have a lot of flexibility for bringing people in, but it's just there's so much demand to like be part of the station now, so it's kind of tough to bring people in. But the next best thing is come in on the air and we'll chat and chat about projects and chat about life, and or just come and see me because it's a really friendly place and come say hi, and yeah, see you around.
Hell yeah, big
I, I'm
ups.
I'm actually following all of everyone that I'm not currently
Excellent.
following on social media right now. I'm following all you guys. So
Yes, Matt is one of the newer people at the dojo, so
yes,
this is your one get out of jail free card. No,
yes, exactly.
I'm kidding. But yeah, okay. So Dylan, Shadow Star.
Yeah, you can find me on my socials at MRDJ Shadowstar. I primarily focus on Instagram, just like a visual. And yeah, like SoundCloud, Spotify, you can find me there without the MRDJ. But yeah, if you're in Austin, you like techno and stuff, let me know. Maybe I'll get to come hang out with you, Lexi, and do some techno stuff in New York. That'd be fun. Uh, and yeah, I'm in the dojo. I've kind of like taken a step back recently from teaching as much, just dealing with finding my compass and doing things more uh, selectively. So if you're looking for teachers and stuff, definitely get in with Chris Cryptochronica as soon as you can before he steps back enough. He was one of my teachers, and yeah, if you are looking to find your community, start now. There's no better time, and most of us are in these like transitory phases, so you can get any step of the way answered from one of us.
Hell yeah! And then Jack, you want to come plug your pluggables?
Yeah, man. I mean, my music's pretty easy to find. If you search Moon Splatta, that's all you're gonna find because it's not a real fucking word. So there's music on SoundCloud and Spotify and all that. Hopefully there will be some new music coming soon. It's what I'm working on right now. I have been also thinking about like doing some production stuff for YouTube. So I'm going to be working on that too and like starting a YouTube channel. I think that's been on my mind a lot lately. So yeah, I'm pretty easy to find out there. So
Hell yeah. Well, big up. Lots of love to each and every one of you. And big up everybody watching. Don't miss your chance to get that awesome membership trial. So producerdojo.com/feedback dash trial. Get in there, get your learn on
Yeah.
unlimited track feedback. and 50% off your first month. So awesome. All right. Lots of love, everybody. That's a wrap. Have a good one. Peace.
Have a good one.
Cheers.